Prospect. Respect, respect, respect. Unconditional love, married upon self, married upon self. Ariel NagaNeter. Now, what I want to tap into today is that the fact that what's important is not about somebody's direction. As far as, you know what, matter of fact, I wanted to pay homage because, yo, the goddess be dropping shit. So if you watching goddess, you already know I'm talking about you. You be dropping it. Keep fucking going. Love, respect. Keep talking that shit. Talk that cloth. Now, and it's only privy to a few people who really tap it in, you know what I'm saying? Like, so with that being said, there's no weapon here, right, that can stop the inevitability, right? So what this tap in is more mainly about is, yeah, we all drop individual pieces, you know what I'm saying, of what we experience in some nutshell. But in fact, what's even more important is how you go about yours. When I walk down a grassy lane or a grassy road, I'm looking at the flowers. Even the flowers are the same quality. I admire each one different. See what I'm saying? And then to another set, I admire each one of those different. We do that in so many different circumferences because that's what it is. To know your experience is where the power is. For the most part, most people don't have an experience, so they come to attach to another individual to get the overall heightened experience to infuse that knowledge with their self. Thus, it's not a real experience. My grandfather used to love these things. Respect to my grandfather. He's already in the second dimension. You know, people, my father used to say back in the day, you know what I'm saying? He used to say stuff like, watch out for the cousins, people. I'm like, what you mean, Dad? The cousins. He's like, people always saying, that's my cousin, and you know you're not family. It's because they want to live off the experience of what you have or what you going through. So the experience is never fulfilling for the individual. You know what I'm saying? That's a leech mentality. Our individual experiences, what we go through, is perfect or purposeful for you, no matter what the situation that you have at hand. Thus, every level that rises or you rise on, you have a different level of detriment that you have to deal with in order to crack the situation. Now, the reverse psychology is, will you get mixed up in that mundane way of thinking and let those individuals bring you to a lower level? Our path is our path because collectively each individual is a different cog, different screw, different nut, different bolt to the whole clock of life. And I'm using that as an example. We all have our individual roles to play. You know, I don't see no particular, and even me personally, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't care. I like sharing. You know what I'm saying? I like sharing, and I always dig deep. Most of my experiences come from within. I'm not going around trying to prove anything because I have nothing to prove to nobody. When in fact, when you teaching, you're supposed to be teaching from the point of view of what you experienced, not what you can find. Anybody can go out and find stuff. That just takes a little effort. But for the most part, because of the iniquity in the system, people wasn't able to search through books the way they needed to. And throughout history, people have been burning real terminology that's ours, in fact. So with the burning of the original text and the destroying of the original books, you have a process of people putting out situations that's only in the cognizance of what they'll allow you to have. And then when you find that, you feel like you hit the hammer on the nail. The truest, deepest knowledge comes from within, and that's only particular for the individual. This is why most of the knowledge that comes across, it don't mesh, it don't actually click together. It can relate, but it don't click because purposely it's for you. Individuals who are truly lost always find a way to attach to something different. Even in the audience, they're looking for something to take back to somebody so they can have access of some form of knowledge to say, well, you know what, I know this, when in fact they can't comprehend it. I dive into myself every day. Every day. It's not a day I don't go into myself and then plus give 1,000 pardon to whatever I would do or rationalize in a physical understanding. Knowing that the physical understanding is not even supposed to be a probability to being a God. So would that beg to differ to say shed the flesh? Or even the emotional contact that comes with it that may make you live in a mundane understanding. It's a lot of work that needs to be done. And the work that needs to be done is never going to be proven through a class to say this is what it is. This is why back in the times from Kemet, even in Egypt, everybody was individually rising on their own level. You could have chose to be anything you wanted with no discrimination. None. Thus, the new probability, even through the government fractions that we have, it always been a government fraction since the beginning of time. But the government fraction that was ruling before was ruled under understanding of religious pretense or spiritual pretense. You see what I'm saying? You had um, spiritual people that would have been considered um, a microphysicist, or you know what I'm saying, some type of high ranking label or terminology that we use today to call an individual great as far as scientific. We have to remove completely from the aspect of trying to hold on to something that doesn't really serve the purpose of which your direct growth has to do. I would never give a plant that produces its own nitrogen more nitrogen, knowing that it'll burn it. Why do that? So when we're experiencing things and we're going through, unless you have a clairvoyant, like the goddess, respect queen, I see you, all day, every day. Unless you're clairvoyant and you're able to tap in on celestial levels and pull down out of that ether the real truth for collective, that's your job and purpose. Me personally, I'm diving inside to pull out everything that comes with the body that's housed in here that's actually stored away so I can't access it as fast. Now we already know that the systematic pretense that we live in is closing off these synapses so that we won't access them in the right ratio. And then plus, if you're blinded in the perception, when you do access them, you won't comprehend them. Every situation that has something that has a job to follow up so that you keep the system going. We all know this. At the same time, there is not even a need for me to focus on that because I'm not particularly supposed to be here in this system. I couldn't be mad at no individual who propagated a system that's not for the gods when I'm a creator of systems, solar systems, universal systems, endocrine systems, deep down inside, microsystems on the smallest level. Every night I lay in my tomb. I have no windows in my room, none, and don't want none because I am light. Nupa nuku, nupa nuka, nuka, nupa nuku. You have to understand, and understand your own pretense before engaging in trying to paint a picture of disillusion or give an understanding of what you have accomplished to semi feel you learn. When only the learning that should be taking place is self learning. Because what makes you a god is not the fact that you got powers or can fly or have any understanding. It's the fact that you are all knowing of self. So that is more the pretense of God's, the God of awakening gods. It's to get you to dive into yourself to learn the indifference. I would like to see how many people go inside themselves and have their own individual story for what they shine light on and had to remove as far as gray pretenses that hold them back from pretenses before when they didn't even know was actually something still holding them back today because of the fact that they're not mixing with the individuals that played a part in those roles. No, you're still being held back because of the way you change, the way you're formulated, the things that structure the way you see your character today. So while you see your character as um some strong or structured individual that went through whatever you go through, then in fact you're still not the childlike energy that came here in the beginning, when it came through the water into through the womb into existence through vibration. There's so much pressure around already, pushing down to split and divide the the life force into another form